Hello, welcome to Libra season and welcome to your look at October 2023. Nothing is quite as Libra season as the temporal beauty that is beautifying your home with flowers, with glass, with the delicacy, and yet this enduring pervasiveness that is life. It falls apart, it comes back again. And that's what we love the most about it, is how temporary it is. And that's very much the fall. The fall humbles us. It teaches us that what we treasured for so many months is a passing thing. It doesn't last forever. And there is a natural dip that happens in our mood when the fall hits. It's beautiful, of course, and we are very swayed with the beauty of Libra season, and then continuing on into Scorpio season, which I've often said has the most beautiful skies. But Libra season gives it a run for its money. Libra season here in Denmark is known for the September sky. It's a very specific kind of blue. It's almost it's steely but warm, if that makes sense. This is a time of reckoning. You know, the reason the scales are emblematic of this season, of this sign that we're in, is because there is an element of reckoning. Bills come due. Your personality is laid bare. Pluto is showing us our most terrible mirrors. And justice is there, you know, to weigh everything and say, you are lacking or you are abundant. And it's happening now through the reflection we see of ourselves in the eyes of others. And that can be really tough. Because if you have, now let's do a little north node, south node before we get into the actual astrology. If you have planted seeds for self, if you have focused on self, then I think that the coming year is extremely beneficial for you. You are in that energy already. It's North Node in Aries. But if you have spent your life waiting for everyone else to decide before you decide, because you want to make sure that your decision takes into account the needs of others. This is what people don't understand about Libra indecisiveness. A lot of times, if you're in a relationship with a Libra, you will think that their indecisiveness is, stems from some kind of selfishness. But it's not that at all. It's this really compelling need to make sure that everybody else is okay with what you're about to do. Does it go well with what they want to do and what they're about to do and their dreams and their plans? So what seems to us on the outside as someone who is incredibly indecisive can be looked at in a much clearer light if you look at its opposite, right? So one of the ways that we can understand Libra, it's very Buddhistic, is in what it's not. So what it's not, the absence of, is this, Aries energy. I do, I am, it's for me, I did it, I'm gonna do it, I make it happen. It's, I was thinking earlier today, a lot of times I'll do things by instinct and people are like, why did you do that? Or why did you pick up that product? Or how did you even find your way to that place? Or how in the world did you meet that person randomly? What? And every time I explain these things that seem uncanny, like I've fallen ass backwards into a really lucky situation, alhamdulillah, it's always this very Aries answer, Mars and Venus in Aries, and it's just, I don't know. But I know enough that I don't try to know. I just do. I don't know why I'm doing it, but I know enough to know that some part of me is directing this, and if I just go with it, which I always do, often I feel like I don't have a choice. Things 'alhamdulillah, work out really well. So if you are self-directed to the point where you don't even know you're doing it. You do what you do. If you are like that, then this North Node in Aries is bringing you immense satisfaction. I just had a conversation about this with my son. So I was trying on a pink dress by this company called Populish, which is like really famous on TikTok now, where they have like shapewear built into the dress. And I knew that if I got like a shapewear, like long maxi dress, that it would be sick and I would be killing it. And you know, I don't try to like do it like that all the time, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy this dress, and I bought it in like a bright pink. And I got dressed and we were gonna go to the bank. This is in New York. It's hot. This is like 2 months ago. And he said, no, I don't want to go with you if you're gonna wear that. And I said, what's wrong? And he said, I just don't want you to wear anything that makes you look like you're not my mom. And I said, whoa, I completely understand. I changed. I was like, okay, none of this bodycon stuff around him no more. He's 16. I got it. You know what I mean? Understood. And I never wore nothing like that around him before. Anything like that around him before. So, you know, it's like, okay, great. That's not water we want to test. And rightfully so. I have a lot of respect for him for putting it the way that he did. Smart kid. Mashallah. So then we're in Denmark. One day, randomly, I had gone to this vintage store in London, and I'd gotten these velvet, like vintage juicy pants, but they're from like the 2000s, actually from the 2000s, not like the ones you could get at Foot Locker now. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but they're dope. They're super dope, and the quality is amazing. Like they're nice, and it's kind of chilly here. It's up in the Arctic Circle, so like velvet sweatpants, I'm feeling it, so I get them. I come here, I'm wearing them, we go to the store, and as I'm thinking, like, damn, I love these pants, they're so comfortable, I'm noticing that he's, like, not, like, very happy, and he's such a happy kid all the time, mashallah. So I'm like, what's wrong? Like, Baba, what's going on? I keep asking him. Finally, he's like, like, crackheads wear those pants here. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Like, the delivery, first of all, Cancer, Mercury, like, watch your mouth. Like, what are you saying? He said, well, here, it's like the girls who, like, smoke cigarettes and drink beer and, like, I don't know. There's a lot of stigmas here around the stuff that they like to do. There's a reason Danish furniture and Japanese furniture look alike. Let's leave it there. There's a lot of shade. Anyway, so I said, okay, so I guess this is one more thing, like, on the list, you don't like these pants. You're not wearing these pants. Okay, check. And I said to him, I don't know if I should give in to this, because I don't want you thinking that you can become a grown-up and tell women what to wear. But I also have a lot of respect for what you're saying, and, I get why that thing, totally get that. Body concept, absolutely no problems there. That's like a done deal. I will not wear anything that makes you feel like I'm not your mother. Cool. Now we're getting into, like, this is more like gray territory. This is more cultural, so I'm going to let it go because this is specifically cultural to here. Maybe it's specifically cultural to the U.S. as well. Maybe juicy pants are just hoe shit. Cool, I'm willing, but it's vintage. It's dope. It's dark gray. Anyway, okay, never mind. It's fashion. No, it's not fashion. It's just, it's dope, okay? It's dope. Anyway, okay, I get it. So today, we're in the car, and we're going to get some stuff because I have friends visiting for the weekend, and Revfem and friends, Revfem who have become friends, and I had on like Gaza Party Volume 1. It's like a dance hall mix. It's pretty hardcore, I will say, and I'm just doing my thing and driving, and he said, oh, can we not listen to songs like this? Can we not listen to music like... I was like, okay. So I turned it off, and then I put on Audible. I put on a book. This is going somewhere, trust me. And I started listening to Psycho-Cybernetics. And he said, oh, this guy, he's talking so slow. He sounds like... And I realized in that moment, okay, we're having like a teenager experience. Like, he's getting into that age where he's a teenager. Everything's lame. Everything's weird. You're weird. Get away from me. I don't know. It's like teenage angst. And my Mars Aries and Venus Aries was like, okay, I've had enough. And I turned into that meme, Pooja, what is this behavior? You are not going to tell me what to do. You want it? You're dying for it. Yeah, I turned into Pooja. I was like, listen, with all due respect, we're not starting a trend here where you get to tell me what I can and cannot do, what I can and cannot wear, what I can and cannot listen to. You are a child. I'm your parent. I'm driving you to the mall. Shut the fuck up. Like for real. Like, enough. Okay? So in your own way, wherever you have planted seeds, where you put everyone before you, or where you put one specific person, in this case my son, before me, in those places, this nodal transit is uprooting some stuff. Like, you're gonna have to pull that stuff out by the root and look at it and say, aha, I did this. This weed that is now overtaking my garden was planted by me with not me in mind, with somebody else in mind. And although in theory this is a wonderful thing, and although we've been taught that this kind of humility, charity is a good thing, this nodal transit is going to show us that it's not. This is, North Node in Aries, South Node in Libra is that transit of you have to put your own mask on first. It will teach you wherever you refuse to put your mask on first and you help other people first while you don't have any air, wherever you're doing that, things are about to go sideways. And on top of that, you got Pluto. Loves to make trouble, just waiting for you to give up and say, I don't think I can do this. And it comes in and goes, let's just tear it all down and see what happens. Let's light a fire. Plutonium, right? Oppenheimer. Capricorn, I'm looking at you, Oppenheimer. Oh, by the way, you get your October videos and then you get Halloween videos too, because they're more archetypal. They're not going to be about what's going on in October. There's a lot to get through in October, and I don't want to do that in costume. Those are more archetypal. Those are like, this is the energy. This is your energy. This is how you present. This is, because it always ends up being accurate later in the year. You're like, oh shit, look at what's going on with Libras. Remember when you were Marie Antoinette? Like that. Boom. Or like, oh my God, look what's going on with Geminis. Remember when you were Medusa? Boom. Like that. Which is why I'm so pissed that I did Elvis but didn't post it last Halloween, because what's going on with Capricorns and Elvis? Wow. Okay. Now we're going to get into the actual astrology. Okay? Good. It's hot chocolate. So, on October 14th, we have a solar eclipse in Libra. On October 28th, we have a lunar eclipse in Taurus. Now, I'm going to go through the planets first of all. I made these notes specifically in the way that I like to talk to you. So everything is like stuff you can write down. It's all important dates. It's like we're going to get into like this stuff now. Okay. Mercury's in Libra from the 4th of October to the 22nd. Mars is in Scorpio as of October 12th. Mercury is in Scorpio as of October 22nd. The Sun will enter Scorpio on October 23rd. And Venus will enter Virgo on October 8th. Okay. Venus is in detriment in Virgo, but only if you ascribe. Let's start there. Let's start with what seems like the most tame of transits and actually the one that can really fuck you up. Venus is in detriment in Virgo. Okay, that's fine. But if you think about our particular circumstances where we've had this Venus retrograde through Leo, is it really to our detriment right now to have some sorting and filing? To weighing stuff out and seeing the value of things with clear eyes and objectivity and saying, the retrograde has dragged me. It's dragged my relationships. It's dragged my friendships. It's dragged my family life. It's unearthed so much. Now I need to sift and sort through all this muck and dirt, because amongst this muck and dirt is like really valuable, really precious things to me that I can't let wash away with this mud. I can't. But the process of getting in the muck and doing the work and sorting and sifting is not something Venus and Leo is ever going to do. I don't think Leos in general want to do it. But a Virgo, that one that you think is so clean and hyper allergic to everyone, the one that's precious and precocious, the one that seems like they never want to get their hands dirty, oh, they'll get their hands dirty. If it means that they can organize and sift and find the gold amongst the rubble, they love that shit. And Venus in Virgo loves that. Venus in Virgo wants to sit down with you and talk through everything that happened in this retrograde and everything you figured out. And maybe it's time that you build a relationship with your future self. Maybe part of what Venus in Virgo can afford you is a conversation with who you are 10 years from now, because that's the energy that it's bringing. I've looked at you through this retrograde. I've looked at you through this lens, and this is what I think. And from what I see, this is the trajectory that you're on. And what Venus in Virgo sees may not be pleasant. Just like what Venus in Leo brought up was not particularly pleasant. For a lot of us, Venus in Leo brought out scores that needed to be settled, roots that really needed to be pulled up, humiliations that needed to happen, apologies and salvations that needed to happen, a letting go that needed to happen. There's so many things that have happened. And yet I wonder how much time we've actually given to them, and I wonder if we have any real idea of the meaning or the gravity of what we've been through and what we've realized. We haven't really processed it. So Venus in Virgo, processing. Because your processing begins on October 8th, there are a few things that you need to be very aware of. There's a square coming up with Pluto. Right? Libra South Node, square coming up with Pluto. Something very, very stable during this solar eclipse on the 14th, because it's squaring Pluto, something very stable is falling apart. Something that you can't imagine not having. Right? So for a lot of you, this is not something in the physical. This is some thought, belief, pattern that you hold very dear. And these moments of sudden disillusionment are happening where you're like, holy shit, this is not like what I thought it was. This is nothing like what I thought it was. So on a grander scale, just because we're all talking about fucking aliens and all this shit, on a grander scale, I wouldn't be surprised if around the solar eclipse we have some sort of bizarre revelation, whether true or not, whether it's true or not, it ends up like whatever happens at that solar eclipse, it ends up opening our eyes to something that we thought was solid, and it's not solid. And you can have two reactions to this. It's the Tower card, but you can have two reactions to the Tower. I personally love the fucking Tower. Chaos energy right here, right? What the girlies on TikTok now call dark feminine. I have so many issues with that for many reasons. First of all, because I'm a dark-skinned person, I don't appreciate that dark title being used that way. But anyway, you can respond to the Tower in two ways. You can love it because it means change. Even, chaos, there is no change without chaos. So the ensuing chaos, of course, it has to be there. So you can either be comfortable with chaos and change, in which case you welcome these Tower moments because the Tower is doing what you are unable to do, what you for some reason cannot do, what you have not been able to get done, that thing that has been sitting in the corner of your mind forever that you know you need to do. It's like me having to buy Q-tips to put in my makeup bag. Every day I do my eyeliner and I think, I gotta get some Q-tips. If I had Q-tips, this would be so much easier. But like, much more important. So, it's sudden change. And it's the kind of change that it prompts deep transformation. You are not the same after understanding what you know now. You can't go back from what your eyes are open to. So October is actually very serious. And as life-changing and life-altering as it is beautiful, because it's sure to be an incredible month. It's dripping with beauty, right? Life giving you its last little bit of color before it goes to sleep, the big party. And what we want to do in the midst of all this, what we do or should be doing when confronted with Tower energy, is that we seek to find balance in the midst of it. We seek to find that place within us where we understand that no matter what is happening, it's happening as a benefit to us. On a long enough timeline, everything makes sense and everything is seen as the blessing that it was. And if you can stay in that headspace and seek balance, not give in to anger, not give in to hypocrisy, not give in to lying, not try to save your neck. There's no way to save your neck when it comes to this thing. This is not you falling apart. This is some structure or other that you need to fall apart. This is stable. This is toxic stability. Toxic stability. What is that? Well, let's put it this way. I have a lot of Virgo friends who are in marriages and relationships they hate. I mean, they hate this person to their core. They hate them. I know, because I see them in moments that are very like Johnny Depp and reading his texts. Like, they hate their partners. But they're never going to leave. They're very happy with that person they hate. Toxic stability. Toxic stability falls apart first and foremost during this time. Pluto hates that energy. Pluto is like, if we're not going to be authentic, I'm going to burn everything down. Okay, we're not going to be authentic, I'm burning it down. And then it's too late. And there's no way to negotiate with Pluto now, because it gave you a lot of chances. It gave you years, actually, to get your shit together. But if you are not hypocritical, if you don't abuse anyone during this period, if you don't lie on anyone, if you don't take advantage of this chaos, you'll be okay. So, and the other thing is, Virgos are, every sign is a reaction to the sign before it, right? So Virgos are very inwardly motivated. They're not diplomatic at all. They actually lack quite a lot of tact. They will say things constantly where you're like, do you hear the words coming out of your mouth? Like, if anyone else said that, right? But we let them get away with it because it's like weirdly charming, because they're usually so beautiful. Libras, on the other hand, are extremely diplomatic. There's nothing diplomatic about a Virgo. No matter how much they pretend to be like, I am a man of the people, they're not. Generally, they hate people. But Libras genuinely care about people. And so your diplomacy as a Libra moon, Libra rising, it comes from like a real desire to see people happy. Some people love to make food and feed other people. Some people love to make jokes and make other people jovial and laugh. Some people like to bring people together and fill the space with beauty and life and food. And this is Libra. Libra is, let's get together and have a party. Libra is, we haven't seen each other in a long time. Why don't you come over? I'll make you some food. Libra is, let's go on a date. I miss you. I haven't seen you in so long. Like, Libra is the sumptuousness, the romance of life, right? We have this like kind of eruption of the romance of life with Taurus, the other Venus ruled sign, where everything is bursting forth. And now Venus comes back as all her children are dying and says, hey, nothing to worry about. This is also beautiful. Let's also find beauty and joy in this kind of last hurrah. Let's make this something sweet. It doesn't have to be something chaotic. Oftentimes when I'm asked about like cis heteronormative male-female relationships, women will say, well, I don't understand, if you're so difficult, why do men stay? Or why do they want you? Or why do they want to marry you? Or why? And I think there are like many books that have alluded to this kind of thing, like men love bitches, like this whole kind of narrative. But I think what it comes down to is that if you have a life that you find wonderful and beautiful and sumptuous and full of connection and deep-seated connections, right? And joy and friendship and community, it's really hard to like abuse that person. It's really hard to isolate that person. It's really hard to control that person because they're too much of a connector. They're too much out here in the world with people. You wouldn't be able to isolate and take that person away enough where you would have them and you could, just not treat them as well. One of the things that this season is really good at is putting everything right in front of you. Which is something I think that if you, in a heteronormative relationship, if you do that, if you put everything that is you out there, there's no room later for anyone to say anything. You've presented yourself as authentically as possible, whether it's chaos or peace or calm. There is something extremely, severely diplomatic, if you can say that, about being authentic. Because people will immediately trust you. They can tell that you can't help but be yourself. If you can't help but be yourself, it's not going to take people long to figure out what you're like, and then you're not predictable, you're reliable. Right? Okay. If you have something you want to get done at this time, let's go like a little bit nefarious. If you have something that you want to push through at this time, you want to get done at this time, the best thing that you could do for yourself is come from a place of righteousness. Like embody that justice energy. I'm right. I know I'm right. You can't tell me anything. Me and every Gemini I've ever met, our favorite song is Can't Tell Me Nothing by Kanye West. That's the energy. Like, you can't tell me anything. I know. I told God I'll be back in a second. Man, it's so hard not to act reckless. Anyway, if you feel like you're in the right, you are going to be able to compel people. Your diplomacy, your words, everything is just flowing. Your energy is like very charming, very enthusiastic, very optimistic. People will listen to you because they're like, you got to figure it out. You're feeling good. You look good. You smell good. You talk good. I will follow you. Now, if you don't give in to despair, because what I've described now, as sweetly as I possibly can, I hope the roses are like softening the blows here. What I've described to you is rapid and significant changes. Rapid. And if you don't despair, you will come out smelling like a rose. Everything will be okay. But if you fall into these moments of like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Oh my God. That will spiral you to a place, and then these retrogrades will just fucking keep you there. You have to understand, when all of this retrograding is going on, there's a certain level that you don't want to take the elevator to. No, you just want to keep out of these basement levels, because the elevator doesn't work very well right now down there. You want to stay up here in the air as much as you can. I know light and breezy is irritating. I got a close friend who believes deeply in light and breezy. He drives me crazy with it, but you know what? He's a happy man. Righteous when you need to be, but light and breezy with everything else. Do not despair. These changes that are happening, these very significant changes that are happening very quickly, they're only happening this quickly because you sat on them for years and didn't do anything when you should have. Sorry. Excuse me. Oh, and then I have it written here with a star, so now I have to go say it again. These are the things you should have changed yourself, but you waited too long. Tower moment. Look, I wrote it in pink. Tower moment. You should have volunteered this change, is what I have written next. I didn't know when I wrote this that I would be going in on you so much, so I probably shouldn't have said that out loud. That's okay. It's all love. I'm just trying to help. You should have volunteered this change, though. These situations, the hits are just coming now. These situations are a reflection of how you feel about you. Okay. Let's talk about that one. Okay. Let me just read it again. I know. These situations are a reflection of how you feel about you. Okay. when you don't do the things that you're meant to do for yourself, and that's what most of this sudden rapid change is. It's stuff that we do for ourselves that we haven't been doing because it's not bad enough. This is a little TMI, but you know, it's the season for talking and connecting and romance and all this. Hello, hi. I was married from 18 to 28, and then from 28 to 38. I got divorced and remarried in the same summer. I was married to 2 supermodels, actually. It doesn't matter. It's all just like water under the bridge at this point. But when I left my first husband, who was an amazing man, amazing in every way, wonderful in every way, just fucking fantastic in every way, I said to my friends, you know, the hardest part about this is that there's nothing wrong. And they were like, well, if nothing's wrong and we all love him so much and you guys seem so happy, why do you want to leave? And it was exactly this moment where we are right now that Pluto brings to a head on October 14th. It's that nothing is wrong, but I'm not happy. And it's like, well, maybe that's an internal thing you need to work on yourself. Yeah. And I can't do that with another person. What is he, a placeholder? What am I? You know, it was all unraveling for me because I felt so much deceit in me for being in something that I no longer wanted. And yet this is the energy that says it doesn't matter if you want it or not, it works and it's stable and it's your life. What are you doing? You want to blow up your fucking life? Like, what's wrong with you? And Pluto comes in and says, this all looks pretty nice, but you seem miserable. How you been? You know, Pluto is Ben in Ozark. How the hell did you end up with a casino? What are you doing? Where did your life go? What's going on? What's really going on? You know, it's that friend that you haven't seen in 10 years and comes over and notices within the first 5 minutes that you and your husband haven't fucked in a year. You know, and it's like, what's going on? Are you happy? Are you okay? Why haven't I heard from you? Like, except it's the friend that then is like, let's go get some body bags. Like, Pluto's that guy, right? And one of the good things about that guy is that there are very few people, planets, energies that care about you enough to get in your face and be abrasive and challenge you, because Plutonian energy doesn't need you to like it. Plutonian energy is too weird and its own thing, too powerful within its own compacted thing to even care. It knows its job. It knows its function. Do you feel me? It's that like Capricorn, like, I know what I'm doing. You don't need to tell me what to do. You don't tell me what to do. You want it. You're dying for it. Pooja, what is this behavior? What is this behavior, Pooja? What is this behavior? Pluto is the energy that comes in and says, I love you enough to make you mad and burn this all down for you, okay? And I know you're going to hate me for a while, but in a few years, you'll be thanking me for saving your life. So, let's keep going. So, the Sun and Moon conjunct with Mercury and the South Node. Ooh, that's a lot. Touchy topics are discussed. The past emerges in a funny way, and it's already happening for me, which I love. The past is emerging as something that is like tied up in a neat little beautiful bow. That's it. It's over. Khalas. We're done. Or it's victorious. Or it comes roaring back and it's like, I fucking love you. I'm not letting you go. You know? You're not getting rid of me. You think you're getting rid of me? Listen, if you think I won't roll past your block every day until I see you come outside. We see the truth about people. And you know, either it's going to really hurt or it's going to make you strong. The reality of people has never hurt me. I don't know, people are always like, when fucked up shit happens to me, people are like, oh, are you hurt? You must be so hurt. And I'm always like, what? No. What? No, I'm not hurt. I just put another piece of armor somewhere that was exposed. What do you mean? No, I'm glad that that person poked me everywhere and finally found a spot that I hadn't armored up from. I'm not hurt. I'm grateful. Because if you think you're going to get to me like that again, it's never going to happen. That piece of me is now covered up. So when people show you these truths, you can either be upset, you can despair, you can have your feelings be hurt, you can take it personal is what I mean. You can make it about you if you want to. It's not about you. Nothing anyone does is about you. It's about them. Just like everything you do is about you. Or you can make it make you strong. You can help it put some steel in your spine, as the Danes say. Or, you know, it can keep you from having a hot chocolate for a spine. Another thing that Danes say. It can fortify you to learn the truth about people. You know, cynicism and realism, it's not antithetical to manifestation and positivity and all that. I've never thought that. I think actually this kind of rampant saccharine optimism is actually the bane of manifestation and makes it impossible to manifest anything, because you're living in this syrupy world of nonsense where everything is just handed to you. That's not how things work. I think cynicism and a healthy dose of realism and having extremely high self-esteem, which I don't think is a delusion, is the key to manifestation. And so the reality about people, if it does make you a little bit cynical, so what? It's good for you, right? It's good to see people and things how they are, because one of the things you will realize later in October, towards the very end, as we're in Scorpio season already, is that so much of what you learn now, after the sting of it is gone, after the upheaval of sudden change is over and the tower is fallen and the dust is settling, what you'll realize is that all of those situations were mirrors. And they were showing you different aspects of how you are and how you act. You know that scene in Swingers where he listens back to his answering machine and the answering machine is clowning him? Or like in Rick and Morty where Beth is in Rick's spaceship and it's trying to keep her safe, and then the spaceship starts clowning her. It's like, that's how you talk. That's how you act. The spaceship is like it wouldn't it be like really cool if I could like keep you, that's how you talk, that's how you act. It's like that this entire season. When you look back at it in Scorpio season, it's gonna be like, that's how I talk, that's how I act. Fuck, what have I been doing? So there is some full circle energy here, because at the beginning of the month you're just like still recovering. We're still recovering from like Mercury being retrograde and all the stuff that came up, and Venus being retrograde and all the like muck that came out of us. And Virgo season was so, you know, analytical with it, just to the point where we couldn't even like see straight and breathe. Like, it's like, my brain, just please shut it off. And now, one of the reasons you get a little bit of distance from everything and you can actually look at it properly is, again, the star of the show in my eyes, Venus and Virgo. Because Venus and Virgo creates so much ick. Virgo moon, I'm telling you, everything is ick. I don't understand how anyone ever gets past my ick to actually date me. I think this is why I almost exclusively date Virgos and Geminis, because they're the only ones who get past my ick. Everybody else, I'm just like, ick. Anything you do, I'm like, ugh, I can't. Virgo, Venus is like the ick. Detection is, everything is ick. Okay, and so what you do is you take the pain of all this realization through Venus and Virgo, and because it won't let you make it ick, it won't let you despair about some man or some woman or some them or they who just did you dirty and never deserved you. Venus and Virgo is not going to let you fall into the gross and be ick yourself. No, it's going to be like, let's transmute this pain. Let's make this into something cleansing, something healing. We are not sitting with this like this in the muck. No. It's a clean energy, you know? So put that to the side there. Then on October 23rd, you have this lunar eclipse in Taurus. The sun is in Scorpio, as well as Mars and Mercury. And Jupiter and Uranus are retrograde in Taurus. When I tell you that the 23rd, like, just mark it on your calendar, put it in your phone. Like, don't drive too fast. Don't say too much. Just try to keep that shit to yourself. By the 23rd, you really shouldn't have anything to say. If you have something to say after the 23rd, it's because you really were sitting on it and you didn't get it out of your system in the first, like, 20. Just do it before then. Let the solar eclipse be what it is. Get out what you need to get out. Move on for what you need to move on from. By the time you come to the 23rd, just try to lay low. Because did you hear what I said? Okay. So let me talk about the big themes and why you should lay low. It's about material and emotional security. Do you understand how sensitive people get about material and financial security? People get in their feelings when they have to pay a bill they can't pay, when they're trying to reach somebody they love and they think that motherfucker's cheating on them, when they can't, like, find a loved one when people are in emotional and material strife, when security is what's on your mind, nothing matters. Nothing. Not that beautiful girl you want to go out with. Not that adorable man you want to see again. Not that trip you wanted to take. Not those friends you love. Nothing matters when you feel insecure about those things. And that's what's on the chopping block. So there's that. We're revising the shit out of that. We're also revising how you manage resources in general. And this is something that's a little bit, touchy to talk about. But one of the things that the lunar eclipse brings up, and again, this is that Tower card still doing its, like, little cleaning, house cleaning. One of the things that the lunar eclipse brings up is financial abuse, codependency, financial coercion, bullying. That partner that takes your money, steals your money, that partner that finesses you out of your money. If there's anyone in your life that has this energy, whether they're close or far away, they're gonna expose themselves. This energy is gonna bring them out. It's gonna pull them out, draw them out. And all you have to do is take notes. Don't engage. Don't, like, do the righteous thing that I was saying before, like, be self-righteous. There are things to be self-righteous about, but a bum is not one of them. And when I say bum, I mean somebody who could do everything for themselves but wants you to do it. Right? Emotional bums. That's what I'm talking about. Emotional bums. So, how you manage research, but also people who are financially leaning on you because they're emotional bums, because they're parasites emotionally. They will financially suck you dry as well. You know that. Now, let's talk about Mars and Scorpio as the last thing before we do the breakdown of the signs. Mars and Scorpio, on top of everything else. The best part about all these transits happening now is that Mars is in Scorpio and Venus is in Virgo, and I'll tell you why. Because Venus in Virgo is not going to let you feel sorry for yourself, and you're going to do the hard work. And Mars in Scorpio doesn't give a fuck how hard the road is. Mars in Scorpio is like, cool, the road's hard, cool, let's go. Oh, it's impossible, oh, nobody else can do it, cool, let's go. Like, Mars in Scorpio is excited by the idea of the work being difficult, by the idea of, like, the work being impossible. Mars in Scorpio is like, that's cool because I'm dope as shit, so I can do the impossible. But that's Mars in Scorpio. That's what it makes you do. It aggrandizes. So you got to have a lot of self-control. No power plays, please. A lot of self-control. Avoid aggression. Avoid vengeance. If you get into a space where you're like, I'm going to fucking get that bitch. Or, you know what? That bitch is going to pay for it. Oh, the way that's going to blow up in your face. This is not the time for that. It brings it out of us. But remember, there's also the energy of I'm not afraid of the hard road. Don't end up doing something that puts you on a really hard road. You feel me? Don't do that. So, the positive way to deal with Mars and Scorpio, instead of giving into the vengeance, the aggression, the violence, the emotional violence, the other way is to let it make you tough when it comes to your patience. Let it make you tough when it comes to your strength. Mars in Scorpio, if you use it properly, shows you how strong you really are, how patient you really can be. I had a friend, I think I've told you this before, who spoke to a Buddhist monk, and the monk was trying to, like, get through to him with some Buddhistic thought, some Zen thought, and actually Zen thought. And my friend was like, listen, I think I'm just a little too stubborn for this, and I think this requires a lot of patience, and I don't have that patience, I'm too stubborn. And the monk said, well, then be stubborn about being patient. Mars in Scorpio can be damn stubborn about being patient, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful quality. It makes them extremely reliable. You can count on them. And during this transit, you can count on yourself, even when it feels really scary and everything feels like it's falling apart. And why, like Umber, you told us all this stuff, but like, why is the tower moment happening? Why are you sitting outside with all these flowers? Like, what are you trying to tell us that's so bad that you gotta do all this? Change, the fall, from mutable to cardinal, the changing of the season, it's not easy. It's emotionally very taxing. It's romantic because it's sad. This is temporary. That's what makes it so beautiful, but that's what makes it's so tinged with this sadness, this aware, that Japanese, the beauty that is even more beautiful because there is something sad in her. This is beautiful because it is objectively beautiful, yes? But it's also beautiful because it's not gonna last. Because it's alive. Because this is not something plastic, because this is something that breathes and moves and drinks and lives and makes its food and it survives. Look at how beautiful its survival is. And when we can truly appreciate the beauty of our persistence and our survival, to see it slowly die off and to see things get colder and darker is sad. It hurts. We don't like it. But I give you this instead. Yeah. It will all go away. Yeah, some things are going to fall apart. Yeah. You're going to have to figure out some other shit. Yeah, you are. Just like whatever bush this flower came from is going to have to figure out some other shit. Just like those crows right now that are mad at me because I haven't fed them yet, they're going to have to figure out some shit. And you know what? That rose bush and those crows and you and me, inshallah, we're all going to figure it out. And everything is going to be okay. It's going to be better than okay. Because this year is a year of just ripping ourselves to shreds to see what's underneath. And there may have been some muck and some layers of primer and some layers of lead paint, but under there is some real good mahogany. And all it needs is a little sanding, a little veneer. And it's a messy process, a little embarrassing. But in the end, you will have something very shiny and very beautiful and very real and very stable and something, hopefully, that you actually want, not something that just fits. Some would say it's a whole lot for nothing. Just keep things trucking the way they are. But if you think that way, you miss the delicacy of Libra season. It is about the nuance. It is about truly being happy and truly being in love and truly thriving. As much as people think Libra is for show, no. They want to be really happy. They don't stop until they're happy. And you will catch that fever too. And you will find yourself in a month from now in a very different place, but God willing, deeply happy. Different. Better. Yes? Okay, so I'm going to post this to Patreon. So if you're watching this on YouTube, this gets posted to Patreon. It's probably going to be like a week before you see it on YouTube. And then I'm going to do all signs, and I'll post that to Patreon as well. And you will be receiving that on YouTube on October 1st. Love you.